Alright, this One Piece fight is one that I've heard over and over, and before I even get into it, spoiler for One Piece up till Wano. If you aren't there yet, like the video and come back later.
Does not have that level of durability. Zoro's biggest limitation is also his mobility.
I've watched both videos where he mentions his points on this, and I definitely see the points that Saiga is making here about the two being natural opposites, and Kid getting his hands on Zoro might mean the end of the fight. I just also think that we've seen enough from Zoro to not assume that this would mean the end of the fight. Yes, Zoro's mobility might not be at the level of Sanji or Luffy, but it is better than Kid's. With a sign, Kid was able to hit Big Mom because she's a big target. Now that's not saying that he wouldn't have been able to hit her otherwise, I'm just saying Zoro has enough mobility and observation haki to dodge something like that if it's a one-on-one. It could also cut through the metal box, and a majority of Kid's attacks require some sort of setup, and that's not saying that he needs 20 seconds or something to build them up, but it's definitely more time than it would take Zoro to release a long or short range attack. Like if his swords start getting pulled in, and I'm assuming the force of the pull is overwhelming, and Zoro starts getting pulled in, because he's not just going to let go of the swords, he'd still be able to do something similar to what he did with Fujitora, right? When Fujitora sunk him into the ground with the gravitational force on both him and his swords, and he let off a long range attack somehow. I just think that while it's true that if Kid gets his hands on Zoro, it could mean fight's over, if Zoro lands some clean attacks on Kid, it could also mean fight's over. And because his mobility is better and he has better observation haki, not to mention that the speed with which he releases any kind of powerful attack is much greater than that of Kid's, I see Zoro landing attacks more likely than Kid landing attacks. The main reason we keep mentioning Kid having to trap Zoro is because he likely wouldn't be able to land attacks otherwise. That's why I give Zoro the slight edge right now. Plus, I think some people give Kid an edge because his position is the same as Luffy's and they kind of bump characters up by stuff like that.